The universe is not a static mechanism of gears and levers, nor is it an indifferent void. It is a flowing, rhythmic expression of movement and balance, a dance where every element plays its part, weaving a story of infinite complexity. From the spiraling galaxies to the rippling currents of a stream, from the sway of trees in the wind to the intricate migrations of birds, everything is in motion. This motion is not random but deeply harmonious, each piece aligning with the whole in ways that often escape our limited perspective. To view the universe as a dance is to shift how we see existence itself. Rather than rigid structures or fixed patterns, we find cycles and rhythms, birth, growth, decay, and renewal, playing out endlessly. It is a choreography without a choreographer, a spontaneous unfolding where every particle, wave, and creature finds its place. It is not about domination or control, it is about flow, where every movement, no matter how small, contributes to the beauty of the whole. This dance is not confined to the vast reaches of space or the grandeur of nature. It is present in the humblest of forms. The flicker of a candle, the flutter of an insect's wings, the falling of autumn leaves, all of these are steps in the greater rhythm. Even the silence between actions, the pause before the next wave of energy, is part of the dance, giving it depth and contrast. Unlike human creations, the dance of the universe has no predetermined goal, no final destination. It is pure expression, unfolding moment by moment. This realization frees us from the burden of thinking life must have a singular purpose or ultimate answer. Instead, we can witness the elegance of the process itself, the interconnected movements of life and death, light and shadow, chaos and order, all playing out like a grand cosmic symphony. We often mistake ourselves as outsiders, observing this grand performance as though separate from it. Yet we are not apart from the dance, we are integral to it. Every breath we take, every thought we form, every action we undertake contributes to the rhythm. Even in stillness our hearts beat, our cells divide, our energy flows. We are as much a part of the universe's choreography as the stars that shimmer above or the tides that shift below. Nature's interconnected web. Nature is an intricate web of connections, a vast network where every thread is bound to another, creating a unity that is both profound and delicate. In this web, nothing exists in isolation. Every element, no matter how small or seeming insignificant, plays a role in the greater whole. The roots of a tree, buried deep in the soil, are not merely anchors, they are bridges connecting the tree to the earth, to water, and to the countless microorganisms that thrive in its shadow. The air we breathe is not ours alone, it has been shared by countless beings before us, exhaled by forests, filtered by oceans, and carried by the winds. Each species, each element contributes to the dance of life in ways both visible and unseen. The buzzing bee that flits from flower to flower is not just collecting nectar, but enabling the growth of fruits and plants that sustain entire ecosystems. The predator that hunts in the night ensures balance, preventing the overgrowth of prey that might otherwise consume the resources needed by others. Even death, so often seen as an ending, is a vital thread in this web, returning nutrients to the soil and providing the foundation for new life. The interconnectedness of nature is not limited to the living. The mountains, rivers, and skies are all participants in this symphony of balance. A mountain is not merely a pile of rock, it is a reservoir that holds water, a habitat that shelters life, and a source of minerals that nourish the soil. A river is not just a flow of water, but a vein of the earth connecting land and sea, sustaining countless creatures along its path. The clouds that drift above carry the promise of rain, tying together the sky and the ground in an eternal cycle. Even the smallest of actions reverberates through this web, creating ripples that can stretch far beyond their origin. A drop of rain falling into a pond sets off waves that touch every corner of its surface. Similarly, the destruction of a city is the art of letting go. Letting go is not a defeat or a resignation. It is an art, a profound act of wisdom that aligns us with the natural flow of existence. In life, we often cling to things, to possessions, relationships, ideas, or even the illusion of control. This clinging arises from fear, the fear of loss, of change, of the unknown. Yet in nature, nothing holds on. The tree does not resist the shedding of its leaves in autumn, nor does the river cling to the water that flows through it. Everything moves, transforms, and makes way for what is to come. To let go is to trust the rhythm of life, to understand that holding on too tightly only creates tension and suffering. It is an act of surrender, not in the sense of giving up, but in the sense of opening to the possibilities that come when we release our grip on what we think must be. Letting go allows space for new growth, for renewal, for the unexpected beauty that arises when we stop trying to control the outcome. In relationships, the art of letting go means allowing others the freedom to be themselves. It means releasing the need to shape or possess, to recognize that love is not about ownership, but about connection, presence, and flow. In ideas, letting go means loosening our attachment to fixed beliefs, making room for curiosity and the discovery of deeper truths. And in ourselves, it means shedding the layers of identity we cling to, the roles and stories that no longer serve us, so that we can step into the fullness of who we are becoming. Letting go does not mean detachment in the sense of apathy. It is not about withdrawing from life, but engaging with it more fully, with less resistance. It is the ability to experience the highs and lows, the gains and losses, without becoming entangled in them. Like a dancer who flows with the music, letting go allows us to move in harmony with the ever-changing rhythm of existence. Nature offers countless lessons in this art. The ocean waves rise and fall, never grasping at the shore, but always returning in their own time. The clouds drift across the sky, dissolving and reforming without clinging to their shape. The wind moves through the trees, never holding on to any single leaf. These moments remind us that letting go is not an end, but a transformation, a way of aligning ourselves with the deeper patterns of life. Order and chaos. Chaos, at first glance, seems to be the absence of order, a swirling, unpredictable force that defies structure and meaning. But look closer, and you will find that what appears as chaos is often the expression of a deeper, more intricate order, one that operates beyond the limits of human perception. In nature, chaos is not disorder, it is a higher level of complexity, where patterns emerge in ways that are not immediately obvious, but are nonetheless profoundly real. The forest, for instance, may seem like a tangle of roots, branches, and leaves, a chaotic mess of growth. Yet beneath the surface lies a network of communication and cooperation, with tree roots connected through fungal threads, sharing nutrients and information in a symbiotic dance. The patterns of a river's flow may seem random, but the meandering paths it carves through the landscape follow laws of physics and geometry, creating shapes that repeat across scales. Even the weather, often seen as the epitome of chaos, is governed by intricate systems. The swirling clouds of a storm or the unpredictable gusts of wind are part of a delicate balance of temperature, pressure, and motion. The chaos is not a lack of order, but a dynamic, ever-shifting interplay of forces that sustains life on Earth. In the cosmos, the same principle holds true. The birth of stars, the collision of galaxies, and the expansion of the universe all seem chaotic when viewed up close. Yet these phenomena follow underlying principles, creating a cosmos that is not random but exquisitely tuned to allow the emergence of life and consciousness. What appears chaotic on the surface is often the unfolding of a grander design, one that operates on scales and timelines far beyond our immediate understanding. Chaos in human life functions in a similar way. The small, in its quiet humility, holds the power of transformation. A small spark can ignite a fire, a single idea can change the course of history. When we pay attention to the small details, the way the light shifts in the early morning, the way a bird sings at dusk, we become attuned to the rhythms of the world. These details, though small, are the threads that weave together the fabric of existence, and by observing them we gain a deeper understanding of the larger whole. The wisdom of the small also teaches us about impermanence. A fleeting moment, like the bloom of a flower or the flutter of a butterfly's wings, reminds us of the transient nature of life. Yet in its briefness it carries immense beauty, suggesting that it is not the duration of existence that matters, but the depth with which we experience it. It is the smallest moments that can hold the greatest meaning, for in them we often find the fullness of life. In the silence between thoughts, in the quietude of nature, in the simplest forms of life, we find the wisdom of the small. It is an invitation to slow down, to pay attention, and to realize that everything, no matter how small, is part of a greater whole. In these small things we find not insignificance, but the key to understanding the vastness of existence. Harmony through contrast. At first glance, contrast may seem to be the antithesis of harmony. We often think of harmony as a state of uniformity, a seamless blending of elements that fit together without tension. Yet true harmony is not born from sameness, it arises from the interplay of contrasts. The relationship between light and dark, soft and hard, loud and quiet, these contrasts create the dynamic balance that gives life its richness and depth. Without contrast, we would be trapped in a monotonous world, where the beauty of variety, change, and complexity would be lost. In music, the most powerful compositions are often those that contrast different melodies, rhythms, and dynamics. The quiet moments of reflection are made more poignant by the bursts of energy that surround them. Similarly, the darkness of night enhances the brilliance of the stars. Without the shadow, the light would lose its impact. It is through these contrasts that we are able to perceive and appreciate the full spectrum of experience. Nature itself is a masterful example of harmony through contrast. The jagged peaks of mountains and the smooth curves of the valleys beneath them, these two elements do not fight against each other, but complement and enhance one another. The harsh winds that whip through deserts contrast with the lush, gentle rains of the rainforest, yet both are essential to the health of the planet. The balance of ecosystems relies on the coexistence of contrasting forces, predator and prey, growth and decay, stillness and movement. Our own lives reflect this balance of contrasts. We cannot fully appreciate joy without having known sorrow. Without challenge, we would not experience growth. The quiet moments of solitude highlight the beauty of companionship, just as moments of activity and excitement are made richer by periods of rest. The contrast between our strengths and weaknesses, our successes and failures, are not contradictions but parts of a whole. Together they create the fullness of human experience, a tapestry woven from diverse threads. In relationships, contrast adds depth and understanding. Two people may come from different backgrounds with differing perspectives and values. Rather than erasing these differences, true harmony arises when we learn to navigate these contrasts, to respect and appreciate the unique qualities each person brings. It is through embracing our differences rather than seeking uniformity that we create richer, more meaningful connections. Even in our inner worlds, contrast plays a vital role. The tension between our desires and our limitations, our ambitions and our doubts, is not something to be resolved but embraced. It is the tension that allows us to stretch and grow, to discover new layers of who we are. The peace that comes from acceptance is not the absence of conflict, but the understanding that conflict itself can be a source of growth, transformation, and ultimately harmony. Harmony through contrast is not a matter of making the opposing forces conform to each other, but of allowing them. The river also teaches us the importance of surrender. No matter how powerful the river is, it never fights against the natural flow of water. It simply surrenders to the process, trusting that its course will take it where it needs to go. In life, surrendering to change does not mean giving up or becoming passive. It means allowing the process to unfold, trusting that we are part of something larger than ourselves. We are not isolated individual entities resisting the forces of life, but part of a larger current that moves through all of existence. The river, in its constant motion, also reminds us that change is cyclical. It does not flow in a straight line. It twists and turns, sometimes moving toward open plains, other times narrowing into rocky gorges. It is in these twists and turns that the river finds its shape, and so it is with change. The moments of tension and challenge, when we feel most out of control, often shape us in the deepest ways. The winding journey, though confusing at times, is what creates the contours of our lives, giving us depth, character, and a sense of purpose. The river does not judge itself. It does not question whether it should be moving or whether it is flowing in the right direction. It simply flows. In the same way, we are invited to let go of the need to control or judge the changes we face. We cannot always see where the river will take us, but if we allow ourselves to trust the flow, we may find ourselves in places we never imagined, experiencing things we could never have planned. The river, like change, is a journey of discovery, one that unfolds in its own time, in its own way, without the need for our approval. We are all, in some sense, like the river, forever in motion, forever changing. The river of change flows through us, shaping who we are, leading us toward new experiences, new lessons, and new perspectives. Just as the river carves its way through the earth, so too does change carve its way through our lives, creating new landscapes, new opportunities, and new understandings. We are not separate from this flow. We are part of it, carried along by the currents of time and existence. The echo of infinity. The idea of infinity can seem distant, abstract, and beyond our grasp, yet it is all around us, reverberating through the fabric of the universe. Like an echo, infinity resounds in every corner of existence, vibrating in ways that are subtle, yet profoundly significant. We often think of infinity as something far off, something to be contemplated only by mathematicians or philosophers. But it is woven into the very structure of our lives, echoing in the cycles of nature, in the expansiveness of the cosmos, and in the unending flow of time. Infinity is not just a concept, it is a living, breathing presence, continually shaping and being shaped by everything that exists. In the grand scale of the cosmos, we can look to the stars and galaxies to hear the echo of infinity. The vastness of the universe stretches out endlessly in every direction, its depths unfathomable to the human mind. Yet in every star that twinkles in the night sky, in every galaxy that spins across the heavens, we find the pulse of infinity. The light from distant stars travels for millions of years, bridging the past and present, reminding us that time itself is not linear but cyclical, infinite in its unfolding. The universe seems to echo with the promise of endless exploration, discovery, and growth, each new star that is born an expression of the infinite possibilities within the cosmos. Infinity is not only a matter of space, but also of time. The flow of time, like a river that never ceases, stretches out in both directions into the distant past and the far-off future, creating an eternal loop, one that moves endlessly forward while also being intrinsically tied to all that has come before. Every moment is an echo of all that has happened, reverberating through the present into the future, while also holding the imprint of every moment that has passed. The concept of infinity reminds us that our actions, our choices, and our thoughts ripple out into eternity, creating echoes that resonate far beyond our own lifetimes. The echo of infinity can also be heard in the cycles of nature. The seasons come and go not as isolated events, but as part of an eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. The falling of leaves in autumn and their rebirth